The red dust of Tanzania clings to everything like a memory that refuses to fade. For Olivia Kemp, a documentary filmmaker from Seattle, this particular evening feels different from all the others she has spent in remote locations. As she adjusts her camera on its tripod, capturing the sunset over the Serengeti, her satellite phone buzzes with an urgency that makes her heart skip. The message is from Professor Hendrik Volkov, a geophysicist she interviewed 2 years ago for a project about tectonic anomalies. His words are simple but loaded with promise. Found something impossible. Need you here immediately. Coordinates attached. 24 hours later, Olivia finds herself bouncing in a dusty Land Rover driven by a quiet local guide named Baraka, whose weathered face tells stories of 1,000 desert crossings. They travel toward a restricted zone near Lake Eyasi, where academic researchers have set up a camp that looks more like a military operation than a scientific excavation. Armed guards patrol the perimeter, and satellite dishes point toward the sky like mechanical flowers seeking an alien sun. Professor Volkov meets her at the entrance, his thick Russian accent barely masking the tremor of excitement in his voice. He is a tall man in his 50s, with silver hair pulled back in a ponytail, and eyes that seem to burn with fevered intensity. Beside him stands Dr. Amara Okonkwo, a Nigerian archaeologist whose reputation for debunking fraudulent discoveries makes her presence here all the more intriguing. If Amara believes this is real, then something extraordinary has been found. You will want to see this before we explain anything, Volkov says, leading Olivia through a series of security checkpoints. Words fail to capture what lies beneath us. They descend into the earth through an elevator shaft that has been hastily constructed, its metal framework still gleaming with newness. The descent takes 3 full minutes, and Olivia's ears pop twice from the pressure change. When the elevator doors finally open, she steps into a cavern that defies all rational explanation. The chamber is massive, stretching at least 200 meters in every direction. But what takes her breath away is not the size, but the structure within it. Suspended in the center of the cavern, held in place by what appears to be solidified energy fields, is a vessel unlike anything human engineering has ever produced. Its surface shifts between metallic solidity and something closer to liquid light, and its shape seems to exist in more than 3 dimensions, creating optical illusions that hurt to look at directly. We discovered it 6 weeks ago, Amara explains, her voice echoing in the vast space. A mining survey detected unusual magnetic readings 3 kilometers down. When we sent the first drone down to investigate, it stopped transmitting the moment it got close to the object. The second drone lasted 30 seconds before its electronics fried. That's when we knew we had something special. Olivia tries to focus her camera on the vessel, but the footage keeps distorting, creating fractal patterns that spiral into impossible geometries. What is it? How old is it? According to carbon dating of the surrounding rock strata, this chamber was sealed approximately 400 million years ago, Volkov says, his eyes never leaving the vessel. But the object itself doesn't register on any of our dating methods. It might be older than Earth itself, or it might be from next Tuesday. Time seems to behave strangely around it. A young technician named Gabriel Santos approaches them, carrying a tablet filled with data readouts. He is Brazilian, barely 30, with nervous energy that manifests in constant movement. Professor, we're detecting another pulse sequence. 3rd one today. The pattern is becoming more regular. Pulses? Olivia asks, filming Gabriel's worried expression. The vessel emits electromagnetic bursts every few hours, Amara explains. They started 3 days ago, weak at first, but growing stronger. We think it's waking up. Those 2 words hang in the air like a death sentence. Waking up. Olivia feels a chill run down her spine despite the humid warmth of the underground chamber. Has anyone tried to communicate with it? We've tried everything, Gabriel says, swiping through pages of failed experimental data. Radio waves, light patterns, mathematical sequences, even music. Nothing gets a response. But yesterday, something changed. He pulls up a video file on his tablet. The footage shows the vessel at night, when most of the crew had left for rest. For hours, nothing happens. Then, at exactly 3 a.m, a section of the vessel's surface ripples like disturbed water, and symbols begin to appear. They glow with pale blue light, arranged in circular patterns that rotate slowly. We had our linguistics team analyze the symbols, Amara says. They don't match any known writing system, ancient or modern. But here's where it gets strange. When I looked at them, really studied them, meaning started to form in my mind. Not translation, but direct understanding. Like the symbols were programming themselves into my brain. Volkov nods grimly. We all experienced the same thing. The message was clear. They are returning. The ones who left this vessel here, 400 million years ago, are coming back to retrieve it. And they are bringing others with them. Others? Olivia's camera nearly slips from her hands. We believe this is not a ship, Volkov continues, walking closer to the vessel. Security protocols forbid anyone from getting within 50 meters, but he approaches the barrier anyway. It is a beacon, a marker left behind by an ancient civilization, perhaps one that visited Earth long before life evolved beyond single-celled organisms. They placed it here as a territorial claim, a warning to other spacefaring species. This planet was already taken. The implications crash over Olivia like a wave. If this is true, if an alien civilization claimed Earth hundreds of millions of years ago, then humanity has been developing on borrowed land. And now the original owners are returning to check on their property. Has anyone informed the government? The UN? Someone in authority should know about this. Amara's laugh is bitter. We reported our initial findings to the Tanzanian government 6 weeks ago. They sent observers, took samples, consulted with international experts. Then, 3 weeks ago, all communication ceased. Our funding was cut. Our permits were revoked. We were ordered to seal the site and forget what we found. But we couldn't do that, Gabriel adds, because the pulses kept getting stronger, because the symbols kept appearing, because something is activating, and someone needs to understand what's happening before they arrive. Who is they? Olivia asks, though part of her doesn't want to know the answer. Volkov turns to face her, and in his eyes she sees genuine fear. 4 nights ago, our satellite feeds detected something entering the solar system. Multiple objects, too large to be asteroids, moving in formation with purpose and intelligence. They will reach Earth's orbit in approximately 96 hours. When they arrive, they will find this beacon waiting for them. And they will find us. What do they want? According to the symbols, Amara says quietly, they want to reclaim what they left behind. This planet, this solar system, perhaps this entire region of the galaxy. We are insects who built a nest in someone else's house. And the owners have finally come home. Olivia's documentary instincts war with her survival instincts. Every fiber of her being screams that she should leave, get as far from this place as possible, flee to the opposite side of the planet. But the camera in her hands feels heavier now, weighted with responsibility. If humanity is about to face an alien civilization that viewed Earth as property 400 million years ago, then someone needs to document what happens next. I need to film everything, she says finally. Every discovery, every development. If this is the end of human sovereignty on Earth, the world deserves to know how it happened. Volkov nods approvingly. That's why I called you. Because whatever comes next, the truth must survive. In the darkness of the cavern, the alien vessel pulses again, its light growing brighter. And somewhere in the vast emptiness of space, Ancient travelers adjust their course toward home, unaware that their abandoned property has been occupied by a young species that has grown rather attached to calling this planet their own. The vessel pulses again at dawn, and this time the entire camp feels it. Olivia wakes to the sensation of her bones vibrating, a frequency so low it exists below the threshold of hearing, but resonates through every cell in her body. She stumbles from her tent to find chaos erupting across the excavation site. Equipment is malfunctioning, computers displaying cascading symbols that match those on the vessel. And several researchers are on their knees, hands pressed against their temples, overwhelmed by something none of them can explain. Gabriel finds her near the communications tent, his face pale and slick with sweat. It's talking to us now, all of us. Not with words, but with feelings, impressions. I keep seeing images of Earth from space, but it's not our Earth. The continents are different, arranged in patterns I don't recognize. It's showing us the past, how this planet looked when they were last here. Olivia grabs her camera, her journalist instincts overriding her fear. She needs footage of this, needs to capture the moment humanity receives its first genuine communication from an alien intelligence. As she films Gabriel's testimony, Amara emerges from the elevator shaft, moving with the mechanical precision of someone in shock. Volkov is down there, Amara says, her voice hollow. He's made contact. They descend together, leading behind the chaos of the surface camp. The elevator seems to take longer this time, or perhaps Olivia's perception of time is being distorted by the vessel's increasing activity. When the doors open, the sight that greets them stops Olivia cold. Professor Volkov stands at the barrier perimeter, but he is not alone. The vessel has extended something toward him, a tendril of that liquid light substance, and it touches his outstretched hand. His body is rigid, his eyes rolled back in his head, and a stream of those glowing symbols flows from the point of contact, spiraling up his arm and disappearing beneath his skin. Henrik! Amara rushes forward, but Gabriel pulls her back. Don't break the connection. We tried with Dr. Yuki an hour ago. When we pulled her away from contact, she collapsed. She hasn't regained consciousness yet. Olivia films everything, her hands remarkably steady despite the terror coursing through her veins. Through her camera lens, she can see the symbols moving beneath Volkov's skin like living tattoos, rearranging themselves into patterns that pulse in rhythm with his heartbeat. After what feels like hours, but is probably only minutes, the tendril withdraws. Volkov staggers backward, and Gabriel catches him before he falls. The professor's eyes are normal again, but something fundamental has changed in them. He looks at the three of them with an expression of profound sorrow mixed with wonder. I understand now, he whispers. I understand everything. They help him to a makeshift seating area, folding chairs arranged around a portable heater. Volkov accepts water from Amara, but doesn't drink it, just holds the bottle like an anchor to reality. The vessel is not a beacon, he begins, his Russian accent thicker now, as if the contact has regressed something in his brain. It is a seed. They planted thousands of them across the galaxy, on worlds they deemed suitable for cultivation. Not cultivation of plants or resources, but of consciousness itself. What does that mean? Olivia asks, still filming. 400 million years ago, Earth was a barren rock with primitive life beginning to form in the oceans. They came here and introduced something into the planetary ecosystem. A catalyst, a genetic nudge that would guide evolution toward a specific outcome. The development of intelligent, self-aware life. Amara shakes her head in denial. That's not possible. Evolution is random, driven by natural selection and environmental pressures. You're suggesting we were designed. Not designed, Volkov corrects. Cultivated. Like farmers planting seeds and then leaving them to grow. They scattered these vessels across countless worlds. each one monitoring the development of life, each one waiting for the moment when consciousness reaches a certain threshold. When we discovered this vessel, when we began to understand the symbols, we triggered that threshold. We announced to the universe that humanity has evolved to the point of readiness. Readiness for what? Gabriel's voice cracks on the question. Volkov finally meets their eyes, and Olivia sees tears streaming down his weathered face. For harvest. They cultivate consciousness because consciousness is valuable. It's a resource they collect, study, trade. We are not their experiment. We are their crop, and the growing season has ended. The words hang in the air like poison. Olivia wants to reject them, to find the flaw in the logic, but the vessel pulses again, and this time she feels it too. Images flood her mind, visions of other worlds, other species, all reaching their moment of readiness before being harvested. She sees civilizations far older than humanity, some peaceful, some warlike, all sharing the same fate. Their consciousness extracted, preserved, added to some vast collection that spans galaxies. How long do we have? Amara asks, her scientific composure cracking. They are 36 hours from Earth orbit, Volkov says. The vessel has been communicating with them, providing updates on our development, our population, our technological level. They are pleased with us. Humanity has grown into exactly what they hoped we would become. Gabriel stands abruptly, knocking over his chair. Then we fight. We warn the military, every government, every nation. We prepare defenses, weapons, whatever it takes. With what? Volkov's laugh is devoid of humor. They crossed interstellar space, while we still struggle to maintain a space station. They seeded life on thousands of worlds, while we debate whether microbes might exist on Mars. We are children playing with sticks. And they are coming with technology we cannot comprehend. But Olivia sees something in Amara's expression, a spark of defiance that refuses to be extinguished. The archaeologist stands, pacing the small area with renewed energy. Then we don't fight them directly. We hide, we scatter, make ourselves difficult to harvest. If they want consciousness, we show them that human consciousness includes the ability to resist, to refuse, to be more trouble than we're worth. You think they haven't encountered resistance before? Volkov asks. Maybe they have, Amara shoots back. But have they encountered humans before? We're stubborn. We're creative. We survived ice ages and plagues and world wars. Maybe we can survive this too. Olivia lowers her camera for the first time since descending. What if we destroyed the vessel? Cut off their ability to track us, to communicate with us? We tried, Gabriel admits. Before you arrived, we planted charges around the perimeter, enough explosive to collapse this entire cavern. When we detonated them, the vessel absorbed the energy. It grew brighter, stronger. Our attack just fed it. The elevator activates without anyone calling it, and they all turn to watch as it descends. When the doors open, a woman Olivia doesn't recognize steps out. She is African, perhaps 50 years old, wearing the uniform of the Tanzanian military, with general stars on her shoulders. Behind her, 6 soldiers emerge, weapons raised, but not aimed. I am General Imani Ruanga, the woman announces. As of this moment, this site is under military control. Professor Volkov, Dr. Okonkwo, you and your team are to cease all research immediately and prepare for evacuation. You can't shut this down, Amara protests. Do you understand what's happening here? What's coming? I understand perfectly, General Ruanga replies, which is precisely why you're being evacuated. We have 36 hours to prepare, and we cannot do so with civilians in the way. Volkov rises slowly, his body still weak from the contact. You cannot fight them, General. You will only ensure humanity's destruction comes with violence rather than acceptance. Perhaps, the general acknowledges, but I would rather die standing than kneeling. My government has been in contact with other nations. Everyone who detected the incoming vessels, everyone who discovered similar artifacts in their territories. We are coordinating a global response. What kind of response? Olivia asks, her camera secretly recording from her hip. General Ruanga's smile is cold. The kind that ensures if they want to harvest humanity, they will find we are full of thorns. Dr. Okonkwo, you theorized we should make ourselves more trouble than we're worth. We intend to do exactly that. The soldiers begin herding them toward the elevator, but Volkov resists, pulling away to face the vessel one last time. They showed me something else, he calls out. When they make contact, when the harvest begins, it's not death. Our consciousness continues, preserved in crystalline matrices, aware for eternity. We don't die. We transcend, join something greater than ourselves. Is that supposed to comfort us? Gabriel asks bitterly. No, Volkov admits. But it's the truth. And the truth is all we have left now. As they rise through the shaft toward the surface, Olivia looks back at the vessel one last time. It pulses with increasing frequency now, counting down to reunion with its creators. And somewhere in the cold darkness of space, ships older than human civilization adjust their final approach, unaware that their carefully cultivated crop has developed a survival instinct they may not have anticipated. Humanity is about to face its greatest test, not as nations or individuals, but as a species. The next 36 hours will determine whether our consciousness, this strange thing they came to harvest, includes the capacity for genuine freedom, or if our free will was just another trait they cultivated knowing it would make the harvest that much sweeter. In just 36 hours, the world transforms. I'm Olivia, watching from a military transport as the cities below empty their streets. There's no panic, just preparation. General Ruanga kept her word. Every government that detected the incoming vessels has coordinated a response that defies all logic. Instead, it embraces the one thing humanity has always excelled at: stubborn, irrational hope. Amara sits beside me, her fingers flying across a tablet. They're calling it Project Thorn, she says. Every major city is being evacuated to underground shelters. We're not hiding. We're concentrating human consciousness. The theory is, if they're coming for us, we make the process as complicated as possible. Gabriel leans forward from his seat. There's more. Dr. Yuki woke up 3 hours ago. She saw the same visions as Volkov, but she noticed something we missed. When they harvest a species, it's clean, efficient. But human consciousness? It's messy. We dream, we imagine, we believe in things that don't exist. Our minds are chaotic in ways they've never seen before. I filmed the empty highways, stretching out like veins on a map. So, I ask, we're weaponizing our imagination? A small smile plays on Amara's lips. In a sense, every shelter has been equipped to amplify that chaos. Art supplies, musical instruments, books, screens, playing every movie ever made. We're going to flood our collective consciousness with so much creativity, so much contradictory thought, that when they try to harvest us, they'll get more than they bargained for. Our transport lands at a massive facility built into the Ruwenzori Mountains, one of hundreds of sites just like it across the globe. As we step out, I see thousands of people streaming into the mountain's heart. Families clutch their children, elders are helped along, all moving with a quiet purpose. There's a strange beauty in it. Humanity facing extinction not with weapons, but with art, not with violence, but with the very consciousness they came to take. Inside, Volkov is waiting in a command center, buzzing with activity. Screens show similar scenes from Tokyo, New York, Mumbai, Lagos, all emptying into these prepared sanctuaries. The professor looks healthier, his face set with determination. They're 1 hour from orbit, he announces. Vessels worldwide are synchronizing their pulses. When they arrive, every artifact they left behind will activate, creating a network for the harvest. General Ruanga, now in tactical gear, steps forward. Can we disrupt it? No, Volkov admits. But we can corrupt it. Dr. Yuki realized the artifacts don't just transmit our consciousness. They read it first. If we overwhelm that analysis with too much contradictory data, we might just crash their system. Gabriel pulls up a display. Every shelter is connected. When the harvest begins, we synchronize. Every human being thinks, dreams, imagines as chaotically as possible. We throw everything at them, math and poetry, logic and emotion, truth and fiction, all at once. We become the most incompatible data they've ever tried to process. I can't help but think of the skulls Volkov described, consciousness trapped in crystal, screening for eternity. And if this doesn't work? Amara's voice is steady. Then at least we'll have shown them that real consciousness includes the right to choose its own fate. The final hour is a blur of preparation. I set up my cameras, determined to document this last stand, even if no one is left to watch it. I film families drawing on walls, musicians playing long-forgotten melodies, children being encouraged to imagine the wildest stories. There is laughter here, genuine and pure. It's the most human sound in the universe. Then it begins with silence. Every screen goes dark. The vessel deep beneath Tanzania releases a pulse so powerful it registers on seismographs worldwide. I feel it in my chest, a bone-deep vibration, stronger now, more insistent. They're here, Volkov whispers. The screens flicker back to life. Satellites show ships hanging above Earth, massive beyond comprehension, their forms shifting between solid matter and something else entirely. They are beautiful and terrible, and they have come to collect what they planted 400 million years ago. General Ruanga's voice rings out over the quantum network. All stations, this is command. Initiate Project Thorn. Show them who we are. What happens next defies description. My consciousness expands, connecting with millions of other minds. It's a symphony of human thought. Someone in Beijing thinks about their grandmother's dumplings while contemplating quantum mechanics. A child in Brazil imagines a dragon made of rainbows while her father calculates his taxes. A poet in Iceland composes verses about the end of the world, envisioning it as a new beginning. The chaos is magnificent. Human consciousness, in all its contradictory glory, floods the artifact network. I see through the vessel's perspective as it tries and fails to process the data. It finds poetry where it expects logic, faith mixed with science. It discovers that we can believe something is impossible while hoping for it anyway. The ships in orbit hesitate. For the first time in their ancient existence, they encounter a consciousness they cannot cleanly extract. Our minds are too interconnected, too contradictory, too beautifully messy. We dream of things that never were, and mourn losses that haven't happened. We love people who hurt us and fear things that might save us. We are irrational, emotional, creative chaos, and we are incompatible with their harvest. Volkov collapses to his knees, tears streaming down his face. They're confused. They don't understand us. To them, consciousness should be orderly, predictable. We are none of those things. We are gloriously, defiantly chaotic. The vessels pulse again, trying to force the harvest, but Project Thorn intensifies. Every person in every shelter pushes harder, thinks louder, dreams bigger. I find myself laughing and crying at the same time, feeling the weight of millions of minds united in beautiful defiance. And then something shifts. The ships begin to withdraw. Not in defeat, but in something closer to respect. A final message comes through the network, not in symbols, but in pure understanding. For me, it feels like acknowledgement. They came to harvest a crop, but found a forest fire. Human consciousness, they realize, cannot be collected because it refuses to be contained. It's not the orderly resource they cultivated, but something wild that grew far beyond their intentions. The ships depart, fading into the blackness of space. They leave behind their inert vessels, now just monuments to a failed harvest and our refusal to be anything other than what we are, beautifully, impossibly, defiantly human. In the silence, General Ruanga speaks. All stations, the vessels have withdrawn. Repeat, they have withdrawn. Humanity remains free. The celebration that erupts is one of pure relief. People embrace. They laugh. They weep with joy. I film it all, capturing the moment humanity looked extinction in the face and responded not with weapons, but with our chaotic, creative, impossible consciousness. Amara pulls me into a hug. We did it. We actually did it. Did we win? I ask, or did they just decide we weren't worth the trouble? Gabriel joins us, grinning. Does it matter? We're still here, still ourselves, still free. Volkov approaches slowly. They'll return someday. But when they do, they'll find us still here, still chaotic, still human. And maybe they'll learn that consciousness cannot be cultivated. It must be allowed to grow wild. As people emerge from the shelters, back into a world that looks the same, but feels fundamentally different, I realize we've gained something precious. Not a victory, but proof that our messy, beautiful consciousness has value precisely because it refuses to be tamed. I film the sunrise breaking over the mountains, golden light spilling across a planet still inhabited by stubborn, creative, impossible humans. This isn't the end of a story. It's the beginning of a new chapter, where humanity knows its place in the universe, not as a crop, but as a consciousness that chose freedom. We are still here, still human, still creating meaning from the beautiful mess of existence. And that, I think, is the greatest story I will ever tell. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more content like this.